So, continuing with the Godzilla news, let's talk about another major aspect that IDW decided, hey, they announced a Godzilla crossover. Well, we got Godzilla stuff too, not a crossover, but hey, we got something. And that being some new, I can count, 3 new Godzilla titles as well. And those being Godzilla Heist, Godzilla vs. America, and Mothra, Queen of the Monsters. So all 3 are really cool. Let's talk about Godzilla Heist first. Godzilla Heist is basically what is going on is that this is going to be what it is, a heist comic set during a kaiju attack. Essentially what happens is this guy named Jay has basically orchestrated a Godzilla attack and wants to pull off a heist in the middle of it in order to hide it. However, some powerful people, namely what looks like to be the controllers, the people, the Exilians from Planet X, or it could be the Simians. That could actually be a nice change of pace, because we've seen a lot of the Exilians. They basically have stepped in and went, hey, we want your shit. Hey, we want your shit. This comic actually reminds me a lot of an actual comic called Kaiju Heist, which is a comic of a kaiju attack during a bank robbery set during a kaiju heist. I'm sure that the writer of this comic probably didn't know about it. He had to have. But it does sound like the plot's very similar to Kaiju Heist. So yeah, the cover looked really good. It looks like a movie poster. I really liked it. The other major one is called Godzilla vs. America, which will be a 4-issue miniseries in which Godzilla it's in a 4-issue anthology in which Godzilla attacks a different city. The ones we know so far are Chicago, San Francisco, LA. Yeah, Chicago, LA, and New York. I imagine the last one's probably going to be like, I don't know, either Miami or Washington, D.C., one of those two. It sounds like a really cool premise. It really does sound like a solid premise for a comic. It's a nice little anthology series, and it is gonna heal up that little hole in my heart for at least for a short time of the ending of Godzilla Rivals, which really sucks because Godzilla Rivals, and I said this before, was really starting to hit its stride. So it really does suck that not having that gone it just kind of really sucks, Yeah. So Godzilla vs. America looks really solid. The next comic, however, is the one that really got me interested, not only just because it's different, but because it could open some potential for future Godzilla comics, too. That being Mothra, Queen of the Monsters. Multitude of reasons why I think this is the one that's most exciting. One, the artwork's done by Matt Frank, arguably the best Godzilla artist outside of Bob Eggleton. Two, it's a comic all about another monster that isn't Godzilla. Although I do imagine Godzilla will probably make an appearance some point in this comic. And 3, we're getting a new monster, like an original monster, which we have been getting from the recent Godzilla comics. There was the Trilobites from Rulers of Earth, but after that, there was nothing because Toho was mad about it. However, this new era of IDW Toho Godzilla is that, yeah, you can make monsters, just run it by us. We did have a new monster in which in Godzilla Rivals Space Godzilla fought. Then Godzilla Defender of Humanity, we had another new monster called Zoospora. So, who is the new monster in which Mothra is doing battle with? A new monster called Antra. And if you can guess by the name, it's a giant ant. Cool. Original, I know. So Mothra is battling a totally new original monster called Antra. And it will involve time travel, from what I understand. It's really cool, and again, if you're going to do a comic about a Godzilla monster outside of Godzilla, it makes sense that your first one is Mothra. She is the second most popular kaiju in the universe. So it makes sense, and it's not like the first time we've seen Mothra get her own spin-off in movies, like the Mothra Rebirth of Mothra trilogy. But it does open the door, hopefully, for, if this sells well, maybe we can get Godzilla comics set to other monsters. Me personally, I would really love a King Ghidorah miniseries. I think that would be a solid comic in its own right, of seeing just how scary Ghidorah can be in his own comic. So a cool Ghidorah spinoff, or maybe, and we have seen it again with Godzilla Rivals, where they do depend on they do like to write other monsters outside of Godzilla. He made cameo in some of Godzilla Rivals, but a lot of those are solely their comics. So maybe this Mothra miniseries will be the door opening for new Godzilla, for other Godzilla comics that aren't focused on Godzilla. That'd be really cool. So yeah, I'm really excited for this new series of Godzilla comics from IDW. It really does feel like this era of IDW Godzilla comics, Toho's really playing fast and loose with them. I'm sure they have to run things by Toho, the Toho bigwigs, but for the most part, it really does feel like they're letting them be a little more creative this time around, rather than the first time. But yeah, you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of these new Godzilla titles? Which ones are you excited for most? And are you hoping maybe in the future we get Godzilla comics outside of Godzilla? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time, the Multiverse.